So welcome to your Stick Niner Empire podcast. I'm here with your two hosts, Lucas and Luke. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty
guys,
good.
we have won, I believe, 8 games straight. We won by the score of 37-20 in a game that, in my honest opinion, was not as close as what the score really indicates. I would say. I mean, it was a close game the first half, but San Francisco really showed what they're made out of as far as much better coaching, better players, better talent level. They just came out firing on all cylinders in the second half. Brock Purdy continues to impress. 4th game overall, 3rd game as a starter. And he's rocking and rolling right now, and it couldn't get much better. Today we came out number 1 on the NFL rankings, first time all year. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was thinking about this morning. I think it's a place that we're well deserving of having that, that credential. Right now, I think the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I don't think anyone wants to play us, and that includes the Eagles. Luke, starting with you, how do you feel about our ranking as of today?
I think that it's accurate for one. I mean, I don't remember the last time we lost. I mean, it seems like when they got beat by KC at home, which was embarrassing, was so long ago. And you look at like that, it's like that pivotal game where, ever since then they've been on fire and just really came back and had, that's not us. We know we'll fare better. McCaffrey was there, but he was really new. And I can't wait to end up facing KC. I mean, hopefully in another Super Bowl, because, we deserve to go there and beat them fair and square.
How awesome would that be? This is starting to remind me a little bit. I'm sure Lucas will remember this as well, Ortiz. The year that, that we had to get bullied a little bit by the Eagles back in '95 before we squared away. And I'm starting to think like that a little bit, because this is not the same team that
94,
lost to KC.
94, actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
94 to 95.
You're talking about that game where Steve Young ended up getting like super fired up, and then they put him on the bench and he lost it.
This is starting to remind me of that, this type of team, because that team became better after that game.
Way
I'm
better.
telling you right now,
bro. What's your problem? Hey, you're trying to make it about me. You're still fired up. It's just, finally the next day he semi-calmed down. But really, it kind of galvanized the guys behind Steve. There was a lot of guys that said, hey, wait a second. This guy's got some fight to him. I like that guy. I want a guy that's not afraid to tell George Seifert to jump in the lake. The funny thing about the whole event, from my teammate standpoint, was suddenly I was this fiery leader. And I wanted to go home and throw up and think about, are you kidding me? For all these years I've been out here battling, and I had to yell at my coach, and now you're like ready to follow me? But it taught me the vital lesson of football. Perception is reality. If you're perceived to be something, you might as well be it, because that's the truth in people's minds.
Guys, when we played KC earlier in the year, I think they took a lot of advantage of the fact that Charvarius Ward was hurt, and he had pretty much his only bad game of the season. I think if the 49ers played KC today, you would see a different outcome, and it would be a much closer game. I think you guys can both agree. Ortiz?
We're peaking at the right time. It was bumpy, to say it at best, in the beginning when we were – what was the record? Was it 3-4?
Oh, man.
After that KC loss?
It was rough.
And there was a lot of questions, mainly at quarterback. Was the defense not as good as we thought they were at the beginning of the season? Were we going to just keep getting injury after injury after injury after injury and making it that much harder to be a successful team and get into the playoffs? And luckily we got it together. We started to get healthy, which was important. We started to get all our weapons back. Unfortunately, we're still without Debo and a couple other guys on the defensive side of the ball are still hurt. It was nice to see Javon Kinlaw make his return. I thought he played a pretty good 15, 20 snaps. I think they had him on a snap count, so he didn't really get too much playing time, but he looked solid. He didn't get a lot of stats, but what I saw is pressure. I saw him taking up double teams, and that's really what we need out of a defensive tackle or nose tackle. Offensively, it wasn't a perfect game, but we scored a lot of points. And yes, the defense put us gave us some good field position, got us some turnovers. Would have been nice turning some of those field goals into touchdowns, but we did get 37 points from the offense, and it could have been a lot worse. It could have easily been a 50 point outcome from the team, and it's something that we can improve. There's a couple more games in the season. We got the Raiders coming up next. We have the Arizona Cardinals, the lowly Arizona Cardinals, at the end of the season, and we're just sharpening that sword for the playoffs when every game is obviously win or go home, and we're going to need to be perfect, especially if we get to teams like the Eagles, who lost and have not sewn up the number 1 seed in the NFC yet. So that's something to kind of take a look at after this weekend. If we can win and they lose again, there's a small chance that we actually have the number 1 seed and get a week 1 bye in the playoffs. So would be nice to have. Hopefully the team can pull out this win against the Raiders, and we'll see what goes from there. At worst, I think we're going to be the number 2 seed.
Yeah, and real quick, you guys. So out of the 8 teams we played, because some people are saying a lot of the games that they won in the string of 8 wins, that some of them were kind of soft. So out of the 8 teams that we've beaten in a row, would you say the Commanders have the best all-around team, or is there another team that we beat that is comparable?
No, the Commanders have the best D-line by far.
I would say the Dolphins.
The Dolphins were the best.
They've been struggling as of late, but I still think they're one of the better teams that we played over that stretch. I know we lost to KC. We lost to the Falcons. Falcons were decent. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs.
I think we'd beat the Falcons today.
They're just outside if the season ended today. Yeah, but I'd have to say the Dolphins or the Washington Commanders.
Well,
I was almost going to say red something, but I caught myself.
The Dolphins were doing great until they played the Niners. The Dolphins were doing really, really good. They won like 7 in a row at home before they played the Niners. And I think the formula kind of got out on how to beat them a little bit too. Yeah, and that's what happened with that team. The Dolphins actually have some talent.
During the Commanders game, I don't know if you guys felt this, but I felt like, there's a possibility that they could beat us here. This is a close game. In the first half, at least, it was pretty close for a while. And until that touchdown pass to Kittle and Ayuk's touchdown, obviously, were huge. But for a little while, it felt like that team had what it takes to actually beat the Niners. If they played their best game and we didn't,
And don't forget about the Seahawks. Going into week 7, week 8, they were the first place team in the NFC West. And, who knows what the division looks like if we go into Seattle 2 weeks ago and lose that game on Thursday night. It could be us, fighting for our lives just to be the division champs. So, Seahawks had a couple players on the Pro Bowl team. I think they got Geno Smith as the starting Pro Bowl or backup quarterback in the NFC, which is amazing just to think, like, going into this season, who would have thought Geno Smith would have been a Pro Bowl quarterback? I know I wouldn't have. So, them and the Seahawks and the Dolphins, I would say, were the 2 best teams on this little 8-game winning streak that we just had.
First, let me say I find it so funny and ironic. It's in the last 8-game stretch, it's like whenever we play a team, their season goes downhill. So I think that's seriously, it's happened to every single team that we played. So for if anyone wants to say, "Oh, you haven't played really good competition," I beg to differ. It's the NFL, and again, it just happens to be that after we play these teams, I think D'Amico is just doing such a great job at figuring these teams out. He's just laying down a pattern for everyone else. I know that's what we did. That's what happened in Miami. Everyone's doing the same thing that we did against Miami now. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
It just sucks we're going to probably lose them to a team like the Broncos or the, so whatever team decides to fire their quarterback this week.
Exactly.
I don't see D'Amico Ryans being our defensive coordinator next year. He's just too hot of a commodity right now.
He's like already hired somewhere.
Yes. As far as what I enjoyed in the game, Brock Purdy, like you said, he just keeps playing. He's not getting any worse, and people aren't really figuring out what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he's just there. He's consistent. He's as solid as you can be. He's running the offense in the most efficient manner that I have seen anyone run this offense in years. I feel like he's making better use of George Kittle.
Yeah.
We're finally getting George Kittle the ball. And props to Shanahan for finally scheming him open again. And mind you, guys, we're doing all this without Debo also. I mean, offensively, Kyle Shanahan's coaching out of his brain also. I mean, what's there not to like about this team right now? It's a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
So let's talk about that first touchdown pass to Kittle. That was the best throw any quarterback has thrown on this team since Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback of the team. Yes, Garoppolo has had some amazing throws, but that throw, the fact that he didn't have to put his whole body into it and threw a laser
right over the
almost, I mean, it was almost Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning-esque, right down the pipe, over the defense. I think they were kind of playing some of the shorter patterns, and Christian McCaffrey got some attention underneath. But that ball was supposed to go to Ray McLeod. Kittle was actually in the wrong spot and wind up getting the interception. Luckily, Ray didn't try to intercept it from him.
Yeah.
But that throw, what it did is it put it in the minds of the defenses that were going to play, especially in the playoffs, that he can make that throw. You better guard deep, or we're going to hit you over the top with Kittle, Ray, Debo when he comes back. Ayuk can easily be on the end of that ball. That was the most impressive throw I've seen. Yeah,
I love how that throw just dropped right into the breadbasket, right? Like over the head, kind of catch. That's the best.
Remember when we played the Dolphins and Tua? He had a couple of deep balls and throws. He throws it deep, but he has to put everything into it, and sometimes it kind of just like loses steam.
Yeah,
right before it gets to the target.
For sure,
his ball didn't lose steam, man. It was on a rope. Unbelievable. Like I didn't think he had that in him. That's on tape now. Teams are going to look ahead and they're going to scout us and they're going to say, like, all right, we have to worry about this and that. And it's going to open up McCaffrey underneath. Kittle on some of the shorter routes is going to be, much more open because they have to worry about the over-the-top throw now.
Yeah.
That's what that did.
You talk about our defense. I don't think they've allowed anyone over 60 yards rushing in a few games at least. I mean, that alone is
No, you're right, actually.
Giving Purdy so much time to come back. They had a few offensive series that were decent field position and did nothing with it. And it's like we still killed them because our defense just keeps Purdy opportunities in the offense,
It's the D line, other than Bosa, it's pretty much a faceless defensive line, right? Nobody knows about McGill. Nobody knows about Jordan Willis, who I thought had an unbelievable game, had a nice interception, fumble recovery, whatever you want to call it. I think it was actually technically an interception, but it was caused by Bosa, I think, on the sack where he knocked the quarterback and then kind of flipped up in the air, and Jordan Willis caught it in there and got the turnover. He was applying all kinds of pressure, made some nice tackles. McGill, Kinlaw, even Eric Armstead had about 4 or 5 pressures on the quarterback. Even though he didn't have any sacks to show for it. We're just getting a lot of production out of this defense. Bosa is the name, the brand. He's the face of it, the one that everybody gives the credit for and well-deservedly. I mean, he's got 17 and a half sacks.
Gotta love it.
19 if the one against Tom Brady wasn't rolled an incompleted pass instead of a sack, which it actually was. And he had a 3rd sack in this game, but it wasn't a sack.
The old 2-point conversion is all you get on that
Just
one.
me nitpicking it. He should have had a 3rd sack. The NFL, for whatever reason, doesn't want to credit sacks on 2-point conversions. He needs 2 more guys to tie the team record set by Aldon Smith, his second year in the NFL. I think 19 is the record.
It's either 19 or 19.5. It's one of the two.
And not too far ahead is Michael Strahan's NFL record of 22, which is more. It would take a lot of sacks over these last 2 games, but I think he's somebody that could pull it off.
I mean, the first half of the game, obviously, we were it was a neck and neck game. The first half, I think me and you both were a little worried before this game because I realized what the Commanders are good at. It pretty much went exactly the way I thought it would. I don't know if we were over aggressive or under aggressive, but nothing was a shock to me.
Well, how about
the second half?
4th and 1. How about the 4th and 1 where we went for it? I think it was inside the 10-yard line, and they ran some kind of
True.
It looked like an option with Kyle Juszczyk pitching to Christian McCaffrey. didn't really look clean, and it was kind of a bad toss, and it wound up going for -1. What'd you think of the decision to go for it in the play call?
I think it's a strange play call, I guess, but I'm down with it too. Because I'm down with all that weird type of stuff, man. I'm down with keeping people completely off balance and off game, and I like to have options. I think anytime you give it to McCaffrey, that's almost like an option because he can throw also, and Juszczyk can throw, So I'm okay with all those type of play calls. I thought we were definitely more aggressive in the second half, as far as just attacking. I noticed the defense was just attacking on the second half. We stopped them twice, once in the first half, I think once in the second half on 4th and inches. The defense was just aggressive. That I definitely noticed that on the second half, I would say. They definitely
the goal line stand.
Up. I felt like they just needed to smack around a little and wake up. I think they were in a little bit of a slump having 10 days off, to be quite frank with you. Yeah. And, once again, the coaching in the second half was so superior, team just woke up.
Yeah, I think on the part of the Commanders, sometimes you got to know when to take your points and to be held or just kick the ball away.
Yeah, good point.
You can't. They even came back on us kind of with the field position. Like we had pretty good field position and did nothing with the ball. Like, I think 3 times in the second half. I mean, Madden always just say take your points.
They tested the defense too much.
I mean,
we do. Yeah, you're right. But we had. I think ours was a little better of a gamble, kind of.
On the goal line.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, end of the game when you really need it. Yeah, you take the 3 points. But early in the game, I think, especially a team coached by Ron Rivera. I mean, they don't call him Riverboat Ron for nothing. I mean, he's a gambling.
But they don't call us the number one defense in the league for nothing either. And I don't know that if I'm them, I might take my points actually. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's especially in the first quarter because then you just get something on the boards. Keep rolling from there. But
I think the Commanders were a little too greedy trying to go for it from 4th and inches twice. If I were them, I would have taken whatever was available, kick a field goal, and that's it. They tried that defense twice, and that defense is really proud. And they pushed them out.
I'm actually going to go out on a limb, and I think Shanahan has adapted to this team with Brock Purdy. I feel like he's a little more aggressive, and he's willing to take chances on 4th down, especially when it came to the end of the game. I think it was a 4th and 3. We could have gone up by 13 with a little Robbie Gould chip shot field goal, but he decided to go for it on a 4th and 3. I think it was around the 15-yard line going in, and we got that first down, and then we scored the touchdown and put the game out of reach. I think it made it 17-point game. I don't think he would have done that with Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you guys think?
Interesting.
That's something that he's kind of gained trust in Brock Purdy, that he's going to make the right decision. He's going to have the vision to get the ball where it needs to be, and he's going to be accurate enough and throw it on time. I don't know if he necessarily would have called that play and gone for it on a 4th and 3.
I could see them maybe doing that with Jimmy G. I mean, because they're pretty in sync with Jimmy, and he's able to hit some of those short passes really, quickly, and I could see them putting that kind of situation on Jimmy maybe.
So here's something that I heard on the radio the other day. Ray McLeod did an interview with Bears Sports Talk station, and he said, remember, Ray McLeod wasn't on our team last year. He was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So he played with Tom Brady.
That's right.
He said Brock Purdy has a lot of attributes that remind him of Tom Brady, mostly being his vision. And I don't think anybody's ever said that about Jimmy Garoppolo. They talked about his toughness, his guile, fairly accurate, fairly decent arm, good looking. But they've never said the type of vision is elite. And Ray McLeod said Brock Purdy reminds him the most of Tom Brady in terms of seeing the field, knowing where guys are open, and being accurate enough to get it there. And I thought that was very
Jimmy Garoppolo learned from Brady.
To say the least.
He learned from Brady.
He did. But doesn't mean he has the vision. Like, just because you play with John Stockton doesn't mean you're going to have the vision that John Stockton had.
But you might be a lot better than you would be if you had not played with John Stockton.
Yeah, John Stockton, one of the best point guards of all time, had insane, vision. And, I think at the time that he retired from the NBA, was the leading assist giver. So just to say that about Brock Purdy is pretty cool. Like, I think that's something that it's going to make us a successful team going on into the playoffs and hopefully win it all. But that yet to be remain. So we'll see how that goes.
So who's up next, you guys? We got the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to go? You think it's going to be a little
A lot of fights in the stadium.
sticky? Well, I was going to say, are the players going to go out in Vegas and, stay out late and just not, be 100% into the game? Or are they going to police themselves, be in their rooms, go to bed at an appropriate hour and play to the
About
best of
half
their
of them
abilities?
will not. I'm sure of that.
That's got to be torture, right? You're in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve and you have a game to play the next day. So
Yeah, I can't say I'm happy with this scheduling on this game because I've seen some people on our team like the day before the Super Bowl. We're not in the playoffs yet. Yeah, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, this is not even the Super Bowl. So I can imagine what these guys are going to do on New Year's. They might even go crazier. So I am a little bit worried. I tell you what, though, this is the game I think we're getting a coach fired after this game.
Uh-oh.
I think if the Niners go in and they destroy the Raiders, which is something that I could definitely see happening, guys. I think if the Niners take care of business the way they can, I think we put up 40-something points. I think that their coach possibly gets fired after 1 year.
Bye-bye Josh McDaniels. Yeah.
Josh McDaniels' track record as a coach has been dreadful as a head coach. Great offensive coordinator with Brady, horrible head coach when he was a head coach both times. So he might get fired, man. I don't know if they're going to deal with him. Derek Carr is having the worst year of his career. He's having the only really, really bad year of his career. I mean, he's not horrible, but he's not doing what he normally does. His numbers are all down.
Yep.
So, come on. I mean,
so it's not going to be a nail biter?
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so.
I think this is our stamp.
Give us the Arango. Give us the Arango range because I know you know.
6 times 7 is 42. Let's go 42.
Carry the 3 minus the 7.
I think we're gonna hit. 40-something points. I'm gonna say 42. I'll give the Raiders 14 points just because they got a good tight end. They got Devontae Adams. I'm gonna say 42-14. And I think that their coach is really on the hot seat after this one. They got to find out what to do over there, man. And if I were Derek Carr, I'd be leaving that team in a heartbeat. They might have to cut him now too because he's making too much money.
So I think our team is just we're gonna come out gunning. It's gonna be a 35-3 game at halftime. We're gonna start to take out some of our starters and kind of take the foot off the gas. And we're only gonna get about 3 more points rest of the game.
Sounds like my score.
38-10. I think the Raiders will get a tackle on 7 in the second half.
All right.
But look for Nick Bosa to get 2 more sacks this game. I think Javon Kinlaw is going to get on the sack board this year. And so will Eric Armstead. Purdy, 230, 250 yards, a couple more touchdowns, hopefully to Kittle and Ayuk. But
now here's the thing. If we're scoring that many points, you don't think he has his best passing game ever?
So I think he's going to have a good passing game, but I don't think he needs to throw any more than 200 and something yards. I don't know what the JP Mason status is for this next game, but Ty Davis Price, Christian McCaffrey, although I don't want to see him get a lot of carries, especially with a big lead. I still think we get over 150 yards on the ground, run it 35 to 40 times, and we're going to get some running. We're going to get some rushing touchdowns. We're going to get some passing touchdowns. Yeah, like we don't need to have a really big pass game out of the quarterback. So, this is a story that's kind of developing to somewhat what happened with the Rams when they won that Super Bowl back in 2000 with Kurt Warner, where just you have a quarterback that nobody gave a chance to be a starting quarterback, let alone an NFL Super Bowl winning starting quarterback. And that's what Brock Purdy might do. I'm hoping. McLaughlin, what do you see?
All right. So here's the thing. My normal prediction for them, I'm almost thinking like we have 8 wins in a row, you guys. At some point they got to lose. I don't trust that we're going to win out all the way through the Super Bowl. And I'm worried about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Niners get upset by 1 point at the end of this game and they lose. The reason why I do that is because I don't want the pressure of the win streak. And that's not what I think is going to happen. But like, I wish I would be able to tell you that and say, okay, that's what I think is going to happen. What I think really is going to happen is going to be 28 to goose egg, and dude loses his job. And, I mean, 8 wins is a lot already. If we keep going,
I think if we lose, I think if we lose, it's going to be the last game of the year against the Cardinals, because I think the Eagles will win this week against the Saints. Okay, and that'll pretty much eliminate our chances of getting the first seed.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going for the second. Remember.
All right. I'll stick with that we're going to destroy the Raiders, and they're not going to score any points.
We want to keep winning, no matter what. We want to keep winning.
Right. I just have a feeling there's not going to be a lot of wanting to really play all that hard that last game. So I think if we are going to lose, it's going to be against the Cardinals, not this week against the Vegas. I think Vegas.
I agree.
There's still there's always going to be a lot of animosity towards the Raiders just because they used to play across the bay, and our fans don't get along with their fans. Boys hate.
The Raiders will score 3 points on their first drive, and they look sharp, but we hold them to 3. After that, nothing.
I could see that happening. Well, anyways, guys, Happy New Year. Time we'll talk. It'll be 2023.
That's right.
The 49ers will be 12-4.
Nice.
And we'll be looking ahead to the Arizona Cardinals. So happy holidays, happy New Year.
We'll get into the trenches next week since we kind of skipped over that segment. And with Lucas Ortiz, it was pretty much an A+, but we'll get into that next week.
Sucks. That was other than that, offensive line was amazing. That's the down in the trenches this week.
And I'm going to be scheduling Damon Bruce in January, you guys. So we still have postseason too. So we're going to get him at the most opportune time, and we'll have a good discussion. All right on, you guys. Go Niners.
Awesome. Go Niners, guys.
Later. Please like and subscribe.